What is going on, guys? It's your boy Cat Thumbs here and Garrett. We are hanging out.
I didn't even say
And
anything.
by
Why
the
did
way,
it take the camera?
what?
Did you see it take the camera from you? I didn't even say anything. It just took the camera. All right, whatever.
It's just going to you, man. The camera likes it. All right. Anyway, Brady here, Garrett here, aka Cat Thumbs. All right.
AKA the dude. AKA
First,
something else.
so let's get started like we usually do, Garrett. So we are Charlie-less tonight. We're running a two-man show, but it's all right, man. We'll ride the ship steady. All right. Overall, what do you think of this week of wrestling? Raw and SmackDown, Garrett.
I don't know.
All right, I can feel that.
I drew that out way too long.
I mean, I kind of agree. I thought Raw had a lot of good wrestling on it.
Wrestling this week, I don't think was bad. I think the storylines could have been better. I mean,
yeah. I mean, especially, is it starting to bother you? I know it's starting to bother me with how much the women's segments are the exact same on Raw and SmackDown. I know we've mentioned it, but like, can I just talk for a second about how lazy it is that they're running the same two storylines? And there's no way that these are actually connected. I think they just like, oh, screw it, man. We'll use it on both shows. It'll be great.
well, I think they thought because they've done two people on both shows or one people on both shows before at the same time and done basically the same storyline, because for singles people, you can't really do that much new guy stuff. Everyone sort of has to come in, take their first victories, and then get taken seriously by the crowd once they realize, oh, this is the person that's going to be a big person, because even the general fans can kind of pick up on when the WWE wants someone more than someone else, because everybody knows, except for like the little kids in the crowd, everybody knows that this is scripted out, but most general fans don't go into it like as deep as we forget to mention that a lot of weeks, because I want to say, I don't know about you, but I don't consider myself an expert at this. I'm just sort of giving my opinion. This is more like, I feel like, a general opinion from the audience of WWE show, if anything, and other wrestling.
I mean, we share a lot of the same sentiments as most people. I mean, I think I generally look at it. If we're talking about you and me and Charlie's opinions, I feel like I generally look at it more as like the TV show and breaking down how they did as a TV show, whereas you and Charlie are more about the storylines and like I don't know. It's tough to. You guys are more like, okay, why didn't they go this way with the storyline? Whereas I was like, in order to please their fans, this is what they need to do, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's kind of where wrestling fans diverge in this dichotomy, because I think the fans that are generally more into it for the showmanship aspect are going to gravitate more toward better matches, and more pizzazz, like New Japan. Whereas people that want to watch a TV show week to week are going to want a Raw or a SmackDown or even an NXT, because it gives you, and I think NXT is, by the way, the happy medium between that. I think the reason why NXT is going to be, by the way, I don't know if we've talked about this, it's going to be on USA next week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. So by the way, I'm totally recording that, but because I don't think I'll be able to watch it, but yeah, my class schedule's screwed, so 8 o'clock every day.
I believe it's the Adam Cole versus Aleister Black main event.
That's going to be broadcast on TV, dude. That's going to make you realize that that's the one match you would want to put as your first broadcast TV main event for NXT. I mean, there's other matches. There's other matches that you could have that are probably better, but I'm saying, like, if you're going to have to showcase everything, I feel like that just tells you where things are going, at least. I don't know. It's good to me.
I'm saying, I mean, I didn't watch NXT, but if they're going in the order of fatal four-way matches when we're there, because Charlie and I are at the tapings, but if they're going in the order of the matches that they did there as far as fatal four-way, or yeah, the fatal four-way qualifying matches, I would have put the Cassius Ohno Johnny Gargano match on, because it was just so amazing. But
to me, that's more an NXT match than it is like the happy medium match I was kind of thinking about, because in my head, you want somebody like Adam Cole that a general wrestling fan maybe would have heard of, but probably not. And definitely probably never heard of Aleister Black unless they watch NXT. So, or the indies. So, but Adam Cole might happen because a few wrestling fans eventually see a Ring of Honor taping or something. They got like rerun or something. But like, I guess for me that match makes sense because I feel like if you're trying to sell the brand of NXT to the WWE audience, which is vastly into different things than the NXT audience, I would say, except for the mix that there is. I don't know. It's weird. Like, there's a lot of things that go into this. I really hope it doesn't completely tank their prospects for putting, because if it works, they're gonna put it on TV every week. I mean, it'll happen. It'll be the new show, on Wednesday nights at 8 or whatever. It'll be NXT, and it'll probably blow up. I mean, WWE will lose ratings on their other shows because people will flock to NXT.
My reservations with it are that, see, once again, this kind of comes from our difference in how we think about things. I think this is a bad move in the long run, putting NXT on USA, for the sheer fact of, since now it's on cable television, even as a test run, Vince McMahon will now have more of a hand in NXT, and it will no longer be run by just Triple H because he cares too much about the image of his cable TV shows. And so these first, 3 weeks on USA, if they're going to do it for these 3 weeks, will be great because this is all shows that Triple H has been the primary creator of. And if they go well, then Vince McMahon's going to say, "Oh, we got something here. Hold on, let me help you out here, kiddo."
I didn't say it would be great. I said that it would blow up, and that means they would lose viewers of Raw and SmackDown to NXT because they would be like, "I want to watch this show." And what you said may very well happen. I don't know what would happen after that. I know for one, though, the shows that they would show of NXT on TV, however many they would do in a row, to try and build up hype for it before they, obviously would have to go live after that because they don't want spoilers, because that would be bad for a show you broadcast every week on your alongside your live shows. It would be really bad. You know what I mean? Like, ooh. Like, people would know everything that was gonna happen. Why go to a show if you're just not gonna see it till next week anyway, or 4 weeks from now is what they do, right?
Yeah,
4 weeks. 4 weeks. You know what's gonna happen for the next 4 weeks. Why even watch?
Yeah, sometimes they do 4 weeks, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 2. It depends how the.
I mean, either way, no matter whether it's 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's all way too long. Everyone's gonna know by the time the show airs. You know what I mean? And a few people will watch that want to see it anyway, but.
I think if anything, the shows that are the taped shows like NXT, those are the better ones to show on cable TV because think about the common fan, the one that's not going to go look up, the casual fan, the one that's not going to look up stuff on the internet and be all into the podcasts and stuff, the people that aren't watching, these podcasts like we do. Those are going to be the people that the taped shows is fine for because they're not looking up spoilers anyway. So
true.
I'm
saying, but all it takes is YouTube. And I know a lot of general wrestling fans that aren't like big into the knowledge of the actual wrestling business do watch like channels like Cultaholic and What Culture and all these other wrestling associated channels that are just general YouTube viewers. I found this out. I didn't realize this. I was looking just in the analytics and stuff. A lot of these people fall within the same groups of people that are watching a lot of other content on YouTube. So, and that's how I, by the way, got back into wrestling. I talked about this a long time ago, but that's how I got back into wrestling was I saw some like What Culture content or something from like Adam Blompiade. And then, just got back into wrestling. I was like, oh, I remember all this stuff he's talking about, And then I started watching Raw again and I was like, oh, this sucks. Maybe I should do a podcast. And then no one ever wanted to do a podcast until I don't even know. I think you guys did like a couple of videos or something. And I was like, hey, poke for like a couple of months.
Yeah. Remind me to talk about Sasha Banks later on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right. So anyway, let's go back to Raw. We kicked off Raw with what I thought was a very good segment. Kurt Angle comes out to discuss what happened the week prior, talking about who's going to face Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental Championship, because that's where it went off air, was Roman winning an IC title match, basically saying, step up, come take the title from me. So Kurt Angle comes out, he says, all right, here's who's going to face Roman Reigns. It's going to be Samoa Joe. And then Jason Jordan comes out and is like, come on, Dad. Come on, man. I can beat him. And Kurt Angle's like, yeah, but, you know. And then Roman came out like, what a joke. Well, actually, Roman was already out there. But Roman was like pretty much laughing it off like, come on, kid, really? And then Samoa Joe came out to taunt both of these guys, said, you know, very stay in your lane mentality towards Jason Jordan. Basically, Jason Jordan is like the little kid that wants to fit in with like the big brothers and wants to fight. And he puts up a good fight, but he's just not good enough. And I like that as a character personally. And then basically this led to Roman Reigns, as he's going to leave, Jason Jordan hits him with a suplex, which pisses off Roman. He's like, you know what? I'll defend the championship twice. Let's go. And so he gets put in a match against Jason Jordan. We go to commercial. We come back, which leads to their match. But first of all, let's talk about the promo. Who do you think was good, bad, ugly? Anything, Garrett?
I don't know what this. I guess it was a good segment, but I guess like the whole thing just felt kind of like, you know how like a while back we were having these big opening promos with all the people that were in the storylines and they all were saying things that made sense, but it didn't really fall together right. Because it wasn't all connected. It was separate storylines that were being brought together because a lot of people were saying we liked big storylines that were interconnected, and they were trying to like sort of do that because they're like, oh, we're listening, but we can't really do that because we have to start over with our plan, because these are like 6 months planned out, like structures, not ideas, structures where they can go, okay, let's go left or right here, and that's why wrestling sometimes comes off as disjointed, because a lot of these segments, they don't know 5 minutes before they come out what they're actually going to say, because it's so integral to this major, whatever the major theme storyline is of whatever pay-per-view. And sometimes they don't really know what's going to happen in a title match or what's going to happen just in a singles match. Because, and this is the thing people gets lost on people, the wrestlers are also aware of this sort of like, I want to call it like a health bar that they have of respectability. Like, it's like every time they take a loss, that health bar goes down a little bit. And the more bigger losses they take against bigger opponents, it goes down more. It's like a fighting game in a way. Except it's a constant health bar, So and they're aware of where they fall. And, a guy like Finn Balor, who's been winning matches here and there, but has really not been pushed, knows where he stands right now. You know what I mean? So
basically, your opinion is this promo, really, the only purpose for it was to set up this match with Jordan and Reigns for the night, right? So do you think that that this could have been done? Do you think it would have been any better or worse off had they just been like, Roman Reigns is facing Jason Jordan tonight?
No, I think that would have been just as stupid. I'm saying there's better ways you can go about doing this. You could have Roman say something. It was just like, I felt like there could have been, I felt like Roman didn't really, and it doesn't really help the fact that they're trying to push Jason Jordan also at the same time. But, like, it's like this constant push for Roman seems to get in the way of his feuds that he could be having with other guys that now that he's established, he could be having, but it seems like they still feel like they have to get him over. And it's like, if they just accepted that, yeah, he's over, but not in the way that you expected, like, and it's not saying to turn him heel, just accept that he's not going to be what you want him to be, but just have him do regular. There's guys on the indie scene that don't have even the slightest hint of character that are just great wrestlers, and we accept that. And, so you don't have to have this convoluted mix of, well, he's this really good guy, and he's this upstanding guy, so we can't have him, like, actually go back and forth with these guys. He's got to be like, but what about this? Da-da-da, it's like, I don't know. It's this dichotomy that we have in wrestling. Like I said, like, one way you can show that the guy is the good guy by just having him just be like, oh, I'm the good guy, and just saying the good guy statements like you would hear in an action movie, right? But you could also, I don't know, just have the guy be like, I don't know, what Daniel Bryan used to do, which was just come out and to talk to people in a promo, and be like, hey, I've been doing some cool stuff. Here's all the cool stuff I've done. Here's all the cool stuff I want to do, like wrestle a bear, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, and Daniel Bryan didn't have to sell himself to the audience. People looked at him and they were like, I identify with that guy. And I feel like legitimately, because Roman was like he's worked for everything that the guy has worked for everything that he's got. He was a football player. He's done all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, so you can sell Roman to the audience without having to actually try and sell him. You can just let Roman be Roman, and I think people would accept him. I believe that because he seems like a likable guy, does he not? I mean, am I just crazy here?
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's just like Strowman. You didn't have to do much. He's huge, so you have him go kick people's asses every week, and that's it.
And people love Strowman.
Yeah,
and people love him. I mean, beyond love Strowman, more than they love Roman, but they could love Roman even more if they would just let him.
So, see, I really liked this segment. I think I love where they're going with Jason Jordan here. Once you get over the whole, like, haha, Kurt Angle's obviously not his real dad, or you just take the storyline for what it is, then I love the idea of Jordan is like, he is really good, but he's just not there enough. And he wrestles great babyface in the ring. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Great moves, everything. But the issue is, like, he has such that phony smile. That's why they're saying, like, oh, they need to turn American Alpha heel that whole time. And they eventually turned him heel, you know, American Alpha 2.0. But it's that issue of, like, everyone was really rooting for Jordan, but it's like, after how many times can he just keep complaining? Do you remember? I don't know if you were watching wrestling or if you were kind of taking a break off of it from WWE at this time, but when Christian was running his.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking. It was with Randy Orton, right? Yeah, it was one more match. So
one more match every time.
That was great.
So Christian came back. He came back into the WWE, won the title, lost the title to Randy Orton, and then he came out and he's like, all right, I'm going to retire. And the fans started chanting, one more match. So that it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, one more match. And he lost it again. And the fans started chanting, one more match again. He's like, you're right, one more match. And then people were like, all right, well, he tried twice and then lost both times. So you know what? How about we find someone different? But then Christian started turning heel and was like, come on, man, one more match. I got it this time. This time I'm good. And I feel like that's what Jason Jordan is doing, but with the Kurt Angle character. So he's like, come on, man. Come on, Dad. Just come on one more time, man. Just give me one more chance at this, and I will get it. And it's like, people are getting sick of seeing Jason Jordan. This is exactly what they need to do with the character.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the parallels in the Christian feud. However, I do think, and this is just my quick opinion on that. I thought, by the way, that the first bits of that was great when it was like the baby face thing, the one more match thing. And then when it turned heel also for a little bit, it was okay. But then it got so drawn out. It was just so, But like, anyway.
They started getting the wrong kind of heat.
Yeah. It started getting like, I feel like if they'd have drawn out the list of Jericho longer, it probably could have potentially eventually gotten that kind of heat, you know? I mean, I'm sure if he comes back with it, I think it'll be over again. But again, it's like, the same thing with the broken Matt Hardy thing, which we'll get into later on. You know, it's like that will only last so long, and when it ends, it needs to end. You know what I mean? When the crowd is over it, it needs to be over. And that doesn't mean turn him back right away, but just maybe play it down a lot. You know, like. But anyway, I was gonna say I think this can work better with the Jason Jordan thing because I think it works differently because it's not one guy just wanting a match over and over again. It's a guy who has the power to get himself a match every week. You know what I mean?
Oh, agreed.
You know, so it's like, and that's how you slowly turn the guy heel. I mean, if that's where they're going with it, I mean, this will be a good storyline, but I don't know. This promo as its own, if I'm looking at this promo as a whole, it just doesn't really, it's just another one of those, we brought everyone out that's going to be involved in the main event or the main, you know, big thing for the night. And it's like, we got to get it over with, you know, otherwise we wouldn't have this match.
I mean, they're obviously setting up a triple threat match with them at a pay-per-view. One thing that I did love, and we'll hop to the backstage segment. So later on, after the match, after Jason Jordan lost to Roman Reigns, they were backstage, Jason Jordan and Kurt Angle, like, oh man, Dad, I almost had him. You know, you got to give me one more shot. And Kurt's like, I don't think so, man. Like, I don't know you anything. He's like, come on, man. You need to give me this. You know, I deserve this. He's like, I don't need to do anything for you. And then Samoa Joe comes by and just decks Jason Jordan, knocks him out, and then he's standing there staring at Kurt Angle. And for those that watched their feud, which was like a 1.5 year long feud in TNA, he was like, yeah, like father, like son, huh, Kurt? I love that.
That was great because that was a great feud too, you know? Like,
oh, exactly. And like not a lot of people probably caught it, But the fact that Samoa Joe knocked out Jason Jordan, like laid him out cold, standing over him, and then he turns to Kurt and says, like father, like son. A lot of people probably didn't get that. They're just WWE watchers, but man, that was a good moment.
That line works both ways. You can either just take that as like, oh, he's threatening him, you know, or you could take it as that's like a line that will work. They were like, oh, can we come up with a line that he can say that will reference the feud that'll also work even if they don't know the reference? You know, it's like I love when they do little stuff like that, and it's something that the writers are really good at. And I feel like that's why some of these comedy writers from like TV and stuff are gonna actually work out for those bits, but they really need to get some actual wrestling writers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. All right, I'm gonna skip the Sasha Page match real quick because I'm gonna come back to it. We had a fatal 4-way match between Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali, Drew Gulak, Tony Nese. These guys didn't say much. They didn't have to. They came out, kicked some ass, had a fast-paced match. This is exactly what cruiserweights need to do, right?
Exactly. I mean, if they, you know, this was a match that I think I was like editing or playing a game or something on my computer, and like I looked up for this match. I was like, oh, this is gonna be good, you know.
Mm-hmm. Like that's what I always say, man. If I'm getting like lesson planning done or like listening through music for my choirs, and I just kind of like, you know what? Let me just stop for a second. Let me just lean back. Let me watch what's going on. This is one of those matches.
Like, because I have to pay at least a little attention so I can get the topic list, but sometimes I'll check out during segments, you know? Like, I'm just like, you know what? I get the idea.
Yep, add it to the list and move on kind of deal.
Yep. Yeah, because we did this last week. This was last week.
This was fantastic. So this was a fatal 4-way to determine who the number one contender is, and Drew Gulak ended up getting the win, which is interesting. So after the win, Drew Gulak wins, and obviously he's been with Enzo, and Enzo's the champ. And so he went back in the locker room. He's like, "Hey Enzo, you know, he's like, you know, I won. You know, this is awesome." And then Enzo's like, "Yeah, man, good job. I gotta go." He's like, "Why?" He's like, "I just gotta go." So Enzo starts leaving and forgets his mic, and Gulak kind of picks it up. Gulak is a great actor, by the way. I thought his facial expressions in that backstage segment were awesome. And then he just kind of picks up the mic. He's like, "Yeah, I can do this," which we might as well talk about it now.
That was a great improv moment, by the way. When he picked up the mic, it was like, oh man, he could have just left the mic there and been like, oh, whoops, that wasn't my biggest. But he took something and he made something out of it. I mean, that's the kind of thing that's going to get him noticed by like someone like Vince. And I think you can tell Vince kind of likes him anyway. So I think that's another moment.
Who knows? Maybe the segment was originally just to have them zoom in on the mic, and that was it.
But then he picked that mic up and he was like, "Yeah, I can win this title." You know, he's scared enough to not want to be around me right now, so I might win. You know, it's just a structure, and it's something. And maybe that was planned. And even if it was, that's still a great little like add-on. You know what I mean? Like,
what are the odds? Drew Gulak does a big baby face turn, beats Enzo, and then we get a WWE Network exclusive, the entire PowerPoint presentation.
Because he's never gotten actually to it completely.
6-hour presentation, PowerPoint.
I mean, I'd say about an 11% chance. I think they might do it. It's 11. That's 11. If there's
11% chance, it's pretty high for a 6-hour presentation.
Oh no, not for the presentation. For him to win.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. Okay.
And to do the turn. Sorry, to win, to do the turn, and maybe to get the. Well, they put it on the network. 6 hours would be fine.
So Enzo on the way out runs into what apparently is going to be the new hot couple in WWE. Garrett, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so she's going to 205 Live, right? Because like we have to assume that, right?
We're talking. Enzo runs into Nia Jax on his way out. Nia Jax is like, he's just like, he just stops and looks, and she just looks at him and goes, "How you doing?"
I mean, hey, dude. Hey, why not, right?
Hey, man. I get
look, Enzo as a character.
Anything to keep Nia away from the awfulness that is an absolution.
Yeah, because she'd have to destroy him, right?
Yeah, because either it wouldn't end up good for either party involved if she went.
Right, because she's a big monster heel, and if she gets destroyed, then she looks weaker. And if they're a big monster heel group, so you know the three of them basically equal one of her in terms of actual, like, if you want to do like math, wrestling math, or whatever I talk about sometimes.
And there's no way Nia would join them. So
no, although maybe, but I don't think so. She's too much an independent. You know what I mean? Like even when she was part of like the Survivor Series teams both years. You know, she's just so always on her own. She doesn't even like go with them unless she's just in the back, just not saying anything. So yeah, no. So I think it's a speculation out right now that she might end up on 205 live in the same way that Alicia Fox did with Noam Dar for a while, and everyone else on 205 live.
Fox came out of it fine, so
Yeah, she came out of it fine. It's not like you can't have women on there. I mean, you know, they're not going to make a women's cruiserweight title, but they're also not going to have a women's match on it. But
if they had a women's cruiserweight title, I don't think Nia Jax would be the one to win it.
No, not her.
That's not
actually, no.
She's just huge.
No, well, yeah, no. I mean, even if she was within the women's cruiserweight weight, you know, because most women wrestlers aren't like. I
don't think she's under 205. There's no way, right?
No, I don't know that she is, but I'm saying most of the women aren't even going to make 205. But I guess there's people under 205 on 205 Live. I don't know. Screw it. 205 Live women's. It's like the WNBA.
I feel like women in the WWE, their average weight, because they got some muscle, but it's more about being toned. Yeah. I'd say most women in WWE are probably sitting around like 160.
Yeah, that's probably accurate, except for like, you know, you get like Alexa Bliss's in there.
Alexa Bliss, like solid 90.
Yeah. Soaking wet. All right.
Braun Strowman came out and absolutely killed Elias. Interrupted his song. First time that's ever happened in the history of WWE. I thought it was great, and then, you know, Kane came out and threatened him. So we're just continuing this. Do we need to talk about it?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I called this. I said that when they did the setup segment for this with Elias backstage with Kurt or whatever, I was like, it's gonna. I said this. I looked and said this to my mom. I was like, this is gonna be Strowman, and she was like, really? You think so? It's not just gonna be someone like. She's like, I bet it'll be Jason Jordan. I was like, it could be that too, but I don't think so. After he already got beat, and she's like, you know what? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I was like, okay, and it was Strowman. I was like, you know.
I wonder how long Elias could go in the ring. I wonder how his stamina is. Probably not that great.
I bet Strowman goes longer.
I feel like there's, like, going back to Jason Jordan really quick, I feel like what would be perfect for Jason Jordan is if they just had him, like, do one of those cross-brand matches. So let's say at Royal Rumble, him and Dolph Ziggler are just thrown out there on a pre-show, like right at the beginning, and their pre-show match goes 45 minutes.
I think they 45 minutes with Elias.
Put him out there
with Elias's moveset with 45 minutes. Oof.
Wow. So you got to put him against someone with some stamina and with a lot of moves. But if you let Jason Jordan just go in the ring, he could just pull a Velveteen Dream and be over.
Oh, yeah. Jason Jordan versus Dolph Ziggler? Yeah, dude, absolutely. I thought you were saying Elias versus him. I was like, why?
No, I'm saying put Jason Jordan, Dolph Ziggler out there on a pre-show and just have them just have an amazing match.
Yeah, no, that would be – I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be – that'd be good. I don't know if it would get him over, though. I think if they're not careful, they could slip into Roman curse territory with Jason Jordan very quickly. Maybe not on the levels that Roman gets it, but at the levels that Roman got it when he first started getting booed for no reason, I think that could potentially happen. I don't think it'd be that hard. I think it's slowly happening to Dolph, too. Because how many cheers does Dolph get? Not as many as he used to. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, agreed. All right, Asuka beat Alicia Fox and Finn Balor beat Bo Dallas. Let's move on. The Raw Tag Team Championship match was the main event of the night. It was the Shield versus the Bar. Basically, the story of the match was just a classic match, good back and forth in the ring between these two teams. Roman Reigns ends up coming out to stop Samoa Joe from attacking. Basically, Samoa Joe came out as a distraction, which was baiting Roman out to come out. Roman ended up being the one that distracted his Shield brethren, and they ended up losing their tag title rematch. So now they are theoretically back down, you know, in the back of the line, even though we know that's not true. But their rematch is gone. Is this going to turn into a Seth and Dean turn on Roman?
I mean, it could, theoretically. I think this is more likely just going to turn into it got screwy finish, so we got to do another rematch. Yeah, that's my opinion. I think that's where that's going. I don't think there's much there. I mean, there might, like, again, they like to do these sneaky, like, last couple of weeks leading up, or last 5-6 weeks leading up into a pay-per-view. They like to do these sneaky storylines that they throw in there with everything else. And one thing that always happens, guaranteed, whether or not they end up being good or bad, is that they end up suffering because they're thrown in with everything else that's already been worked on for like however long and planned out. Because they're still in the creative phase of it when they just throw it out there, you know. So
Yeah. So I mean, it will be interesting to see where this goes. So Bleacher Report said the interjection of Samoa Joe, the screwy finish, and the restart hurt the flow and led to an overbooked mess late. With that said, it was still a quality capper to a show that was consistently entertaining throughout. The only question now is whether or not Sheamus and Cesaro will continue their rivalry with the Shield or if they move on to a different team. For the sake of preventing fatigue, hopefully the latter is the case, which I think it will be the case. All right, so let's go back because I wanted to talk about Sasha Banks a little bit. But first, we're going to talk about Paige. These two women faced each other on Monday night. It's interesting. So WWE, usually when people come back, they like throw them on a live event or they have them like wrestle against someone in the Performance Center for a couple weeks before they're back. Paige came back, made her come back on TV, didn't do any other shows, and went for 15 minutes cold with Sasha Banks. It was a little sloppy in the beginning, but I thought the fact that WWE let Paige do that, coming off an injury and going with arguably the best women's wrestler that they have on either show, I thought showed a lot of respect for Paige and a lot of confidence in her.
the only thing we need to see now is Paige versus Asuka on Raw.
It'll be interesting.
Just because, you know, she's like, that's the target, and like instead of like, and like that's, you know, build that storyline of why they won't attack her is because she wants a match or something. I don't know, but yeah, no, this match, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. At the beginning, it was a little slow. Like there was a little bit of like miscommunication, and I don't even know if these have they ever touched before this. Like, was there matches that they had before?
Think so, no.
And if they were just Raw matches anyway. So, you know,
well, who'd Paige lose to? Who'd she lose the title to in NXT? Was it Sasha?
Either Sasha or Bailey. But Sasha had it before Bailey, so it was Sasha. Yeah, Sasha probably.
Yeah, it was Sasha.
Because Sasha had that belt for quite a while before ever. Because I don't think who else. Charlotte might. No, it wasn't Charlotte, was it? Because Paige was the first champion, right?
Yes.
Because it was her and Seth Rollins were the first two NXT champions. Well, and then whoever was the tag champions.
Oh yeah, and she was weren't they in they were like in that feud with like Sasha was team bad with Naomi and Tamina, and then wasn't Paige part of another team? Yeah, Paige was with Becky Lynch and
Something like that,
Charlotte, yeah. I think. So
yeah, like it was just some.
So yeah, I mean they've worked together before, but still, Paige has been gone for so long. But the real thing I want to talk about is that Sasha Banks made history last night. Do you know why, Garrett?
I do not.
Her and Alexa Bliss.
Oh no, I did see this.
They had a match, and it was the first women's match ever put on in Abu Dhabi. Which, if you guys don't know, in Abu Dhabi, the women have to be completely clothed head to toe. The only exception is like hands and stuff. Okay, so they had to make full body suits, and they actually wrestled last night. Which, say what you want about like Abu Dhabi's policy, that's pretty cool that that WWE got women in there to wrestle because they're finally seen as athletes. Because that's a country where a lot of the times, obviously, they're seen as prizes to a lot of men, and their body's supposed to be covered up, except for, you know, for their husband's eyes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool that women are getting respected enough to where the fans in Abu Dhabi, as long as they're clothed up and they're in line with their traditions, that they'll watch them wrestle just like the men.
The only unfortunate part is, you know, that they're still not quite there. But, you know, hey, I mean, that's also impressive that they wrestled like fully bodysuited. That would be hard, I feel like. It's already hard to wrestle in like all the gear that women already have to wrestle in that I'm sure is vastly different from the men's, you know.
Hey, Nia does it.
Nia does it, yeah, a full bodysuit all the time. So maybe women have been doing this more often, and I just don't know. Maybe it's a thing.
Yeah.
Nia could wrestle. She just have to get something to cover her head, right?
Yeah. And also Absolution did this thing where they tried recruiting Sasha Banks after the match, and she...
Dude, give her Pentagon's mask from Lucha Underground. That would be legit.
And then they tried doing the same thing to Asuka later in the night, and Asuka just kind of backed out of the ring. So, all right, grades for Raw, Garrett.
D. Solid D.
D, you said?
Yeah.
I thought the wrestling was good on Raw, so I can't really give it any lower than like a C minus. I'll give it a C. I thought it was average. I thought not a lot of stuff went somewhere, but just because I enjoyed the wrestlers, the wrestling, I'll give it a C.
Yeah, the only reason I give it a D is because on a show, and this is my theory, is if only good wrestling is what's going to win me over for this show, it's got to be one of the marathon shows where they do like a million matches in one show, and it's like one of the super shows or whatever. And there's like a million really like they're always good matches. Well, not good, but they're always matches, and at least you can be like, okay, well, there was a lot of matches, and most of the matches were good. So even though there wasn't much storyline, I could still say it was a pretty good show. Whereas on a show where there was like a lot of just meh and a lot of bleh, like, you know, and then like just some good matches, it just never does it for me fully. And that's why most SmackDown episodes get like a C or below for me, because most SmackDown episodes lack in the storyline area.
That's true. So speaking of SmackDown, they tried bringing a storyline. In my opinion, this opening segment lasted way too long to set up a couple matches. I like Randy Orton in the ring, but man, like, I don't know. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out to be like talking about how they're victims and Shane McMahon is out to get them, which is pretty true because he is out to get them, and he's open about it. At least, you know, at least we all understand. We're all on the same page there. Shane McMahon came out and said, you know, Zayn and Owens are going to face Randy Orton and a partner of his choosing at Clash of Champions, and that Sami Zayn was also going to face Randy Orton that night. Basically, Kevin Owens was in the ring, Sami Zayn was down, and Orton hit an RKO out of nowhere on Owens, and that was it. Anything you want to add?
This segment killed the show. I'll get into why later.
Yeah, kind of did. The New Day versus Rusev and Aiden English, I thought was really good. I'll take New Day. I'll take Rusev and Aiden English because they won via pinfall. The fans want Rusev Day to be a thing so bad.
It's a t-shirt now, I think.
The New Day's pancakes are getting bigger every week. I don't know how big you can possibly make a pancake, but it's getting bigger every single week.
You can get a burner for, right? Right, I would say, you know, or just to make a grate that's like flat, like get a metal sheet and put it over like a fire that's like a mile long, and you can make a giant pancake that you just drop on the stadium.
That's kind of it. I mean, and even English is over. Isn't it crazy to think that like this time last year, Aiden English was jobbing out with Simon Gotch?
Yeah, and then you know we all the same thing. He was doing the same thing without Gotch when you know earlier when it was earlier this year. Yeah, earlier this year when they split. When they got rid of Gotch, because he was too fighty, you know, I don't know, man. Like, it's funny. The guy is over. You know what? I'm a fan. I mean, honestly, like I enjoy Aiden English, and I enjoy Aiden English and Rusev. I'm not gonna buy a Rusev Day shirt, but hey, you know, like it's just good, you know. And when they do stuff like this, where they take two people. And they put them in a tag team, and they are like actually like a tag team now. They're referred to as a tag team. You know what I mean? It makes me wonder if they're just trying to bank off the success of Sheamus and Cesaro, and other teams in the past that that weren't like now. Well, you're not even Sheamus and Cesaro anymore because they're the bar now. So it's like eventually they all become real tag teams. So it's like, what are Rusev Day gonna be?
Who knows? This could just be like a one-off tag title match for them. Or this could be the start of a tag team run for them. You never know. But in my opinion, they're just going to get put into this match it as a fatal 4-way tag match just to take the pin. I think that's why they're there. But still, they're entertaining, and I'm down with it. With the New Day, I was having this thought the other day because we've been talking about, so they've been hinting that like New Day, like, you know, they've been losing more often, you know, maybe there's a little bit of dissension there. And when the New Day was formed, Xavier Woods was just kind of seen as the mouthpiece that occasionally wrestled, and Xavier Woods is good enough now to hold his own. He is a bona fide superstar now, and so I think it's a little obvious that they would break up and that Big E would turn on them and get a big singles run. But I almost feel a swerve coming from WWE with Xavier Woods turning on the two of Big E and Kofi and going on a run of his own.
It has to be him. And
it would work well. Xavier Woods as a heel would be great.
The way he delivers his promos, the way he holds his mic, I mean, all of that is so conducive to like a Miz-style heel. You know what I mean? And I could see Xavier Woods maybe, you know, calming down on the hair a little bit, you know, and, you know, maybe coming out in a suit. You could see it, right? Holding the mic like that.
Dude. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, it'd be great. To hire me, WWE.
Really good. He could be like Rollins was a couple years ago.
Dude, Rollins was so great then too. And I see parallels between them two. It's just them on top of my head. I can see, especially in their careers, because, you know, before NXT, people knew Tyler Black for good wrestling, but I don't even know if anyone had really heard him talk much other than just on, you know, regular random promos they do at indie promotions. So like,
I mean, the strongest tag team combo of those three is still Kofi and Big E. You let them stay as a tag team, get their revenge on Xavier Woods, and he breaks out and does his own thing. I think that would be the best case scenario for all three guys right now. You can get the whole, they could even make the case of like, let's say during the fatal 4-way match, they lose the titles because Xavier Woods takes the pin. All of a sudden they can say they got rid of their weak link, you know, from him turning on him. It's like, you know what? Maybe it's for the better that Xavier Woods walked out on us. It could be fantastic. Ugh.
Oh yeah, completely. And that's one of those things where we notice, and it'll probably be completely missed by creative.
Yeah, probably. Daniel Bryan was backstage with all the women. I don't know, man. It didn't.
It's like progressively every week. SmackDown gets more sexist.
I'm not into the Riot Squad at all. I like Liv Morgan. I think she's the lone bright spot. And then your other team, you've got Lana and Carmella and Tamina. Dude, if we could cut Ruby Riott, Tamina, and Sarah Logan out of here and just end up with the three blondes, Liv, Carmella, and Lana, and just have them be a team, I'd be way more down with that. But so Carmella officially has a name for her Money in the Bank, which is Frankie. I think Carmella's cashing in soon, by the way. I give it T-minus like a month and a half. Like it's coming soon, I think.
I don't think it's going to be on a pay-per-view, though.
No, agreed. I think it's going to be on SmackDown.
The night after pay-per-view.
Tamina all wanted title matches, then the Riot Squad did, blah, 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 blah. All 6 women are going to surround the ring in Charlotte versus Natalia's lumberjack match. I don't know.
Lumberjill match. Isn't that what it's supposed to be called?
That's true. Lumberjill.
They call it a lumberjack match on the show, but, I mean, shouldn't it be that? Anyway. And
then in this same segment, Mojo Rawley, in my opinion, cut a hell of a promo.
Yeah, and it was like a 30-second, like to a minute promo or something like that.
It was quick. He said Zack Ryder was the dead weight. He's about ready to be serious. One thing that I loved that a lot of people were like, oh, that was stupid. But I thought WWE did it so subtly that it was fantastic. He was like, I did this all on my own. I went and won Andre the Giant Battle Memorial, whatever. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal all on my own.
The armbar.
Yeah, armbar. I won it all on my own. And, you know, now I turn on Zack Ryder, my boy Gronk. So he like brings up Gronk, the guy that basically won the match for him at WrestleMania, while also saying that he wanted himself. Great heel lines. I thought, you know what? Good job, creative. I think they did a fantastic job with this promo. I think Mojo delivered. I think Mojo's ready to break out. What do you think?
By the way, I don't know why I said armbar. There's a T in there, but anyway, no wait, Andre. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't really Abar, whatever. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what I was saying there. I was like armbar. That doesn't make sense. No,
I don't know why you said armbar.
Because there's a tournament called armbar. I forget what it is. It's something with an A R bar. It's something to do. Anyway, it's something to do with wrestling. Anyway, I know it was definitely not like an MMA thing. It's just called the armbar because fighting, you know.
Hold number 1, armbar.
That is the most legendary promo of all time.
Mojo Rawley.
Actually, no, that's not true. That's second most legendary.
Are we moving on?
Yeah, no, Mojo Rawley was good.
Okay.
I said that already. Yeah, he said.
Okay. The Bludgeon Brothers faced the Young Bucks. That's what they're supposed to look like, at least. They had 2 jobbers dressed like Nick and Matt Jackson come out and get their ass kicked by the Bludgeon Brothers. Thought it was great.
They quite literally bludgeoned them. I mean,
so on another podcast I listened to, they said, okay, now they're the Bludgeon Brothers. Does that mean, since they took away their last names, or they took away their first names, does that mean that Harper and Rowan are now their first name? So are they now listed as Roman Bludgeon and Harper Bludgeon? Are those their names, man? Because they're the Bludgeon Brothers, man. They're brothers.
I'm gonna have to look up Bludgeon Brothers.
Roman Bludgeon.
I'm gonna look at Bludgeon Brothers because I don't think I think their actual Wikipedias would still say their wrestling name, but
because they were saying Harper, Rowan, the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
But now they're saying the Bludgeon Brothers.
No, it's still saying Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. Yeah, it says it right here. You can't see it because of brightness, but
because it still says because now they're announcing it as the Bludgeon Brothers, Eric and Harper, or Rowan and Harper. I just imagine if their names were Harper Bludgeon and Rowan Bludgeon, the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah, that'd be great. It'd be like, do you remember? You ever see the Sam Roberts podcast that had Bully Ray on it before he came back to WWE? He was talking about when they first went to TNA. That they were trying to still be the Dudley brothers, but they obviously couldn't be because of WWE. So they were going to be
Brother Ray and Brother Devon.
Yeah, they were going to be Brother Ray and Brother Devon Deadly, so they could be the Deadly Brothers.
Oh, I saw that.
And I was like, dude, why didn't they just go with that?
Oh, that would have been so great.
No, I know why they didn't. It was actually his decision. I remember this now. I remember watching this. It came back to me. They didn't because it leaked to the internet. And they were like, no way, not doing it.
The Deadly Brothers.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
It's nice seeing the Bludgeon Brothers kill smaller guys.
Yeah, I think they could be a decent team. How about this? They can be a big guy team that I think could convincingly lose to some baby faces.
Dolph Ziggler hopped in on a match between Baron Corbin and Bobby Roode.
That happened.
All right, moving on. Charlotte Flair versus Tamina happened.
Moving on.
Charlotte won.
It happened.
Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn with Kevin.
Also, wait, hold on. Back roll 1 second. It was already a lumberjack match, basically. Moving on.
Yeah.
Remember, everyone was out there. It was like, why have them out there?
Right. They were already coming out to like support each other. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn with Kevin Owens handcuffed to the bottom rope. Oh man, on a scale of 1 to 100, Garrett, how surprised were you that Owens found a way to get out of the handcuffs?
Oh my God, he found a pair of things conveniently placed to cut the thing that he currently has on his wrist.
Who left those bolts?
Who left those there? Was it Sammy? Did Sammy see it coming before everybody else?
God.
He snuck him down there when he was doing his little A.
I mean, it was an all right match. And then after the match, Shane McMahon presumes to tell. So Shane's getting a little bit of heel in him right now. He's like, no, I'm gonna. So Daniel Bryan's like, all right, good, you punched him. And he's like, no, it's never gonna be enough.
He's starting to sound like his dad.
He is. And then that's kind of it for SmackDown. What is your SmackDown review? Oh, by the way, Orton won, but because Shinsuke came down and made the save, leading to Shinsuke Nakamura. And once again, for like the third week in a row, SmackDown doesn't time it right, and they have to kill it about another 2 minutes. Very
Yeah.
odd. SmackDown keeps doing that. But
Yeah, because it was I remember, I know exactly what you're talking about because they both did their finishers, and they
mhm.
were like, "All right, we're
They're up
going
there
to."
posing, and then the
And then
ref
someone must have told them. The ref was
up
like,
and tapped Randy Orton and was
he was,
like,
"You
"Hey,
got like 2 more minutes to fill, dude."
oh, all right." So he came down and they did their
So
finish. The other,
yeah, the other guys must have. They were still laying in the ring, so they probably overheard and they were like, "Oh snap!" You know what I mean? I got to take this move again.
all right,
Because
this time you take an RKO and I'll take a Kinshasa.
yeah, I bet that was probably the decision that was made on the spot because they were like, "Man, that Kinshasa is just brutal. I don't want to take it again." Remember when Jinder was taking it like 3 times a night? Oh, dude, I don't even want to know. Ugh,
Oh, yeah.
brutal. Even the muted version of it looks painful. Ugh.
So
Yeah.
SmackDown honestly did not hold my attention. I was excited for it, and after like I thought the first 2 segments. I mean, maybe it's like you were saying, and you can talk about it. But for me, I'll give my wrap up, and then you can talk about why you think the original segment killed everything. I thought the original segment was terrible. I like the New Day versus Rusev in English. That is the only thing on the entire show, besides the squash match, because I like Harper and Rowan, that I actually enjoyed. I don't like Rude or Corbin or Ziggler. I don't like any of the 3 guys. Corbin's okay, I guess. And like nothing else. I'll just scroll through right now, man. Like just on its own with no context of storyline. You got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn kick off SmackDown. You're like, okay, that could be good. The New Day versus Rusev in English. Sure, I'm cool with it. Daniel Bryan backstage segment with those 6 women. No. Bludgeon Brothers versus Jobbers. No. Corbin versus Bobby Roode with Ziggler interfering. No. Charlotte versus Tamina. No. Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn. No.
And let me just say, you can have Rude versus Corbin. It doesn't have to be the Ziggler interference. That's the thing that loses it for me. It's like, why?
Well, because they're setting up a triple threat, Garrett. The whole night was set to.
Well, I know why. I'm a wrestling fan. Don't actually give me the answer. I say when I ask why.
Ziggler was trying to justify all night, man. I belong in this match, damn it. I'm a 17-time champion. Whatever.
In my own heart.
Exactly.
I've won every title match I've ever. Dude, you know what I want somebody to do? Hold on. There needs to be somebody that's been a perpetual loser in a bunch of title matches over the years, even though they've won a few, but they've lost most of their title opportunities. And I want them to start coming out and acting like they've won the title as many times as they've had a match, so that people can go back and check the stats and figure out that it's actually a joke. Because it'd be like, yeah, I'm a 23-time WWE champion or whatever. How many matches they've been in? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, they come out. Well, if I count the matches I've been screwed out of, I should be a 70-time champion.
Yes, exactly. That'd be great. Dude, that'd be Kevin Owens' thing. That'd be great.
That would be fantastic. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with Randy Orton and Shane McMahon killed the show for you. Why is that?
So initially I said this at that segment where it all started, and in my head, when that segment went as long as it did and didn't really do much overall except for try and make more heat for the guys with the most heat on the show.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't really need any more.
And so in the match, they still try to give them more heat by Owens escaping. And Zayn, by the way, we didn't even mention it. Zayn took a nasty bump on the table. The monitor was still underneath the thing when he has messed up. But Randy doesn't know, obviously, but that's like, professionalism, whatever. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think after that there was this sort of crack formed in the show for me because I was thinking if they do something in this match to try and sell them as heels anymore, I'm not gonna buy this feud. And the reason why is because why would these guys do all these nefarious things when they already know that they're in trouble for the same kinds of things that they're doing right in the moment that they're getting punished? When heels are getting punished, they run to corners and they fade off of TV for a bit. That is what heels do in these kinds of scenarios. And the only reason they do that is because heels are supposed to be, especially guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're supposed to be smart because they're viewed as like decent talkers. They're viewed as intelligent by the community of wrestling fans. You know what I mean? So, if you're trying to sell them as intelligent, like dastardly heels, but at the same time you're trying to punish them at the same time for their their dastardly heelness, it just doesn't fall together right. And so when the moment came and Owens broke that lock, and then I think there was a little spot where Zayn almost got the roll up or something, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Are you serious right now? If he'd have won the match right then and there, I'd have been done. I'd have been like, you know what, guys, you can have the Raw deal name. I'll never trademark it. It's a thing, and it'd be done. Like, it literally would have been done with wrestling again. Like, it was so close, and I almost wonder if it was a last-second call because, you know, they make those calls in the ring sometimes.
Let's be honest. If you didn't walk out when Goldberg beat Lesnar in 30 seconds, you're sticking around for life.
Probably. Do you remember how mad I was about that?
That was the time to ditch wrestling for the rest of your life, was that. If you stuck through that as a fan, kudos to you. Just like, right. SmackDown grades, I gotta give it an F. I only liked one thing.
Is there a grade lower than an F?
F minus. I gave it last week, man.
Yeah, but that's an actual grade. Can you give like an incomplete grade?
No, because incomplete would mean that like the show could have been good, but something went wrong, and the show is just never good.
Incomplete doesn't mean something that good that went wrong. It's incomplete just means, well, I mean, you can say it that way. I would take incomplete as you tried to get there, but you didn't, and so nothing really made sense. It'd be like if you wrote half of a scientific theory, but then you left the other half like in a different Word document, and so like someone had to find both to get the, you know what I mean? You posted them on two different sites, but you know, yeah. And someone was like, one person read that back half, and they were like, "What was I just reading?" And the other person read the first half, and was like, "Where were they going with that?" You know. So I don't know. The British people
just say you refuse to grade it.
I refuse to grade it because this is such a terrible show.
There you go. See, refuse to even dignify it with a grade. It's so bad. It was pretty bad.
I gave SmackDown.
And then one thing that I intentionally skipped.
I'm giving SmackDown an ECW on WWE television out of 10.
Matt Hardy has been woken. And I gotta say, I hope him and Bray Wyatt just do weirder and weirder shit all the way through Mania.
Dude, I don't care what anybody says. Delete vs. Decay was one of the funniest stuff on television for a long time. I think if they go full,
looked at each other and laughed at each other for like 30 seconds.
If they don't go total nonstop deletion with this feud, I will just be done. You know what I mean?
I love how Bray Wyatt's character is a little different now, though. Bray Wyatt basically came out and said that his whole character has been trash, but he feels like he's finally alive, and he feels like he's finally himself, and how he's finally found the means to be himself. And Matt Hardy's like, "Oh, I've also woken." It's like it's perfect, and in all honesty, I could see them being a team about a year from now.
Oh yeah. Do you think? Also, really quickly, will Brother Nero be back, or will Jeff be a singles guy?
I think Brother Nero will be back,
but not right away, right? You think Jeff will go do some stuff on his own first, like win a title or something?
Jeff will come back and be like,
"Matt." I think that was the plan, was for him to be IC champion, right? Obviously.
I think they'll fight each other for a pay-per-view, get a good match out of it. Jeff will hightail it over to SmackDown, probably win the U.S. Championship, get a little run with him there, and then he'll lose a couple times and then go crawling back to Matt. And, you know, this can be like a 2-year thing. And then, you know, he'll eventually be Brother Nero again. But Jeff doesn't need it. Matt does. You know
and the thing that, you know, you always loved about Brother Nero is you knew after a while when you'd see Jeff sort of shine through that it was just Jeff playing along so that he could be with Matt. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, you know, after a while he stopped being like controlled by him, and he was just like, man, what is going on? You know, like,
right.
And it was the great part about it. You know, I mean, like again, like if they don't go full on with this, it won't work. But I do think that Bray Wyatt every so often needs to do sort of like a reset with himself, where he sort of goes into this sort of phase for a while, where his matches and feuds aren't really that good. Like we had Balor, and then almost Jason Jordan, and then almost some other stuff. Like, you know, like there was some weird stuff going on with him for a while. Now he's not really doing anything except for this up until now. So, like, yeah, this can work. I just don't screw it up, WWE. It'd be really easy to. I mean, and this is the thing. Because of how overly complicated Broken Matt was, there's so many ways you could screw this up now. Like when they first started Broken Matt, there was no way he could possibly screw up, because if he screwed up, just make it part of the character. You know what I mean?
You know what? The only way that this will work to the fullest of its ability is if WWE just says, Bray, Matt, what do you want us to do? And let those two guys, two of the best creative minds in the business today across any company, just let those two guys do what they want, and it will be great.
They'll be weird, though.
Oh,
real weird.
It'd be terrible, but who knows? Maybe we could see Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt, finally together. Oh, we've been calling for that for a while.
You know what they need to do? Just have Bo Dallas come out and talk about conspiracy theories for 5 minutes on Raw.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Because that could be a character. How has that never been a wrestling character? The crazy conspiracy guy. That could totally be a character for a heel, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, you know what's interesting?
Vince McMahon is out to get me.
Well, there has been a guy that's like.
Well, that the management is out to get me, but I'm saying like that the universe is out to get me. Like whole thing. Right. I guess that's what Stardust was. I don't know. Whatever.
So Impact changed their contracts up to state that everyone that is current or former is a current or former character on their show now gets the rights to their names and everything. So that's huge for people like EC3, Abyss, Rosemary, Matt Hardy, because now he can just be Broken Matt if he really wants. And what's also interesting now is if Matt Hardy wanted to, he can go the whole 9 yards, man. He can bring in King Maxwell. He can bring in Senor Benjamin, Vanguard 1. The dude can bring Vanguard 1 into WWE if he wanted to. It's very interesting.
Don't you think Vince McMahon would buy an actual drone?
Wait, that wasn't an actual drone?
I'm sure it was. The footage was probably from a drone, I'm saying, but it was an effect that created like the Vanguard 1 thing. You know what I mean? I feel like he would buy an actual drone that can do that, and that has that built in. It's Vanguard 1. Someone will build Vanguard 1 for him. The man gets a bike shop to make custom championships, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, it's true. Sure, he probably would, but no, just let Matt Hardy do what he wants, WWE, please. Bray Wyatt as well. I mean, Bray Wyatt has
they'll let Bray do it for this one thing because they're going to let Matt have any amount of control that he wants because they really probably don't even care what he's going to do at this point, like.
Well, that's what happened with TNA. TNA was sinking so fast, they just said, Matt, whatever, dude, do what you want.
Yeah, and it worked out way for them. I mean, it didn't work out in terms of making a crowd on like total nonstop deletion. There was like 3 people or something, but like, but I don't know. There's a million ways they can go with it, but I hope they just let them do. But the thing is, Vince doesn't let anything on TV that doesn't have his seal of approval on it. We know that for years. That's been the case. So it comes down to, are they willing to make the sacrifice of potential? Because people, I feel like when they start doing some of this weird stuff, some people are going to start tuning out. But it's going to be like the people that are really into the whole Broken Matt thing that are going to be like, yes. And this is the thing that bothers me, though, is that 90% of the people doing the delete chant in the crowd have no idea what they're even doing or what it references or, like, at this point, because we've been so far separated from that at that point now, because he came in at Mania, that you were almost at Mania again. You know what I mean? So, like, it's just like the craziest thing that they could do is just let them do what they want. Like you said, like that would be the craziest thing for them to do business-wise, but it'd be the smartest thing for them to do financially. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
What they're going to do, what they do, they're going to give them constraints, say you can't go as far as you want, and then they're both going to just protest it. And I almost wonder how much of this times that Bray and Matt's characters will stray in the future will have to do with how they're treated backstage in regards to how they can do it, because they're going to be given parameters because they're not really something you can write for. I mean, not really anyway, without messing it up.
I mean, all reports have shown that Bray Wyatt has been one of the main leaders in the locker room for years now, and Matt Hardy is he's going to command that respect everywhere he goes. So I think they could literally ask anyone in the locker room and be like, hey, man, you want to help us with this thing? Want to go record some stupid thing in North Carolina? Yeah, man, sure, why not? So it'll be interesting. But anyway, that'll do for this episode of RDP. And, man, we went, I don't know how long. A little over an hour. I'm usually right under an hour. We're 5 minutes past. but it's all good. It's all
An hour between just me and you. That's pretty good, bro.
You guys should tweet at me and tweet at Charlie and tell him it's at SLXRF, something like that. Hold on, I will find it. You guys need to go right now, tweet at Charlie, tell him that he needs to go out with us in a couple weekends. Me, Rick, and Lucas are going out. We're trying to convince Charlie to go. SLXRFF. Tweet at him. We need it. All right. Anyway, like I said, that'll do. Make sure you guys like and subscribe and click the little bell so you know when we go live. And we will catch you guys next time.